Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Forge. Here on Rankings Day, we're going to continue with the tight end position, and later on this afternoon, the running back and wide receiver videos will come out. You can also check out earlier, I had the quarterback video come out. I just got finished recording that. Couple quick bulletin things here. First of all, these are preliminary rankings. There will be alterations throughout the week. Rankings are fluid, especially dependent on news that comes out. You can find my rankings as I update them out on my website on www.theFFforge.com. There is a link down in the description for that, and those will go up on Thursday. Then on Saturday, I will have my start-sit video, which I described a little bit more at the end of the quarterback video, and also then on Sunday, 1 hour before kickoff, you can come and visit me live for any of your start-sit questions. And of course, you can just ask me a question in the comments here on YouTube. That is perfectly fine. I'll get to you as soon as I can, and hopefully give you game-winning advice. The players that I'm going to be talking about are highlighted green, meaning that I'm above the ECR. The ECR is the expert consensus ranking from fantasypros.com. And as far as over here on the left of the screen, this is a temperature gauge. It's a rating of the matchup along with several other factors. It's a little bit more in-depth than the quarterbacks are. It has matchup factors. They have Vegas factors in both of them. But then the positions, the tight end, wide receiver, and running back also have some things such as the quality of the targets or the rushes that they are getting, or the quality of the production when they're getting those attempts. All of those types of things are also included in here, as well as several other little factors that come to say, hey, this guy's, it's primed to be having a good week, is all that comes down to. It's not a guarantee of them having a good week, but it just means that factors are working in favor of it. Let's start off with the tight end rankings here, starting off with the tight end ones. I have Mark Andrews at number 1, followed by Travis Kelce at number 2, TJ Hawkinson, Pat Freiermuth, Cole Kmet, George Kittle, Tyler Higbee, Kyle Pitts, Dalton Schultz, Greg Dulcich, Foster Moreau, and Taysom Hill in at 12. Now, you can push some of these back because, as you see down here, David Njoku, just in order to keep how different I am than the ECR, the expert average, I moved these guys to where the ECR had them because obviously, well, I don't think at least they're projecting like David Njoku is going to be starting this week. But if he were to start this week, I have him up at number 4 currently, so that would push Pat Freiermuth and everybody else back a spot. And then I have Gerald Everett, if he plays this week, currently ranked at number 12. So that would push everybody back another spot, push Taysom Hill back to 14, actually. So would actually have him behind the current ECR, roughly. So let's start with my number 5 ranked Cole Kmet. The ECR on him is number 8, so I have him 3 spots higher than the ECR. Cole Kmet's going up against Atlanta. What else can I say? Love the matchup. He's been on fire. There is, a risky floor with Cole Kmet, but this is one of those cases where the matchup says, I doubt that he'll hit that floor, like right here, bright red. So yeah, great matchup. I like him a lot. Now let's move on to Dalton Schultz. I have him 4 spots behind the ECR. The ECR on him is at number 5. I have him ranked number 9. Now, to be perfectly honest, I actually was kind of planning on putting up higher, but between this gauge over here just being a neutral matchup for him, and this the lower ceiling on him, I just decided to trust that a little bit and moved him back. But I do like Dalton Schultz this week. Here's another thing. So I have tight ends 1 through 6 here as must starts. You get them into your lineup. They're the types of guys that you could even think about playing at a flex position if you had 2 of them. Then from tight ends 7 through 11, and this would include Gerald Everett, actually, I have them as my my tier 2 starters, my high-end starting tight ends, and then we'll get to the rest of them shortly. But just to finish off for Dalton Schultz, he's a really good high-end starter. I like him a lot. You can move him up, move him down a little bit. I don't care. But it just comes down to I even massaged his stats to leave out the 2 bad games where he got injured or whatever and didn't play much, or he was coming back from injury and didn't play much in a game. I took those out of it, and he still just didn't move much in my rankings. I'm not going to argue with you if you put him up against Kyle Pitts for Kyle Pitts. I just like that ceiling, and I don't think Chicago's a bad matchup anymore, so I like that as well. Now let's move on to Greg Dulcich, who I have ranked 10th. I have him 3 spots behind the ECR. The ECR on him is a 7, and that probably has a lot to do with the matchup. I think it's a good one, isn't it? Yeah, going up against Las Vegas, one of the best passing matchups that there is in the league. Obviously, it's a lovely matchup. Last week, that stinks, but he's still getting on the field. There's still going to be opportunities, and overall, he's done better than not still this year, so give it another try. Liking him a lot. And then just as far as Taysom Hill goes, even though he is essentially my 14th ranked tight end right now, I have a really good feeling on him going up against the Los Angeles Rams. Outside of going straight up the middle, Aaron Donald could cause some issues for him. But all in all, I think this is the type of defense that Taysom could have a good day. I have a good feeling on Taysom this week for a potential, big Taysom week. So just want to get that out there into the world for you Taysom Hill owners. Now let's move on to my tight end 2s, which starts off at tight end 13 with Tyler Conklin, followed by Juwan Johnson, Hayden Hurst, Hunter Henry, Dawson Knox, Robert Tonyan, Jonnu Smith, Trey McBride, David Njoku, Austin Hooper. I forgot to renumber him after that. Logan Thomas at 24. So we got an extra guy in there. I already talked. I have David Njoku as a must-start tight end. They are going up against, where are you, David? Look at him over here. Going up against Buffalo, which has been a pretty darn good tight end matchup, as you can see with the red over here. So excited for his return if he ends up playing this week. And then all of these tight ends are going to be guys who I still have a decent amount of confidence to start. I'm not excited about them, but there's a good potential with them. And that starts off with Tyler Conklin, who I have 5 spots ahead of the ECR. I'm at 13th. The ECR on him is 18. My projections, absolutely freaking love this guy. I can't figure it out. I actually went through and I checked to see if there was any kind of error in his line of my entering the data. Maybe some number in there was typed in where it's supposed to be grabbing a number from somewhere else, but it was just really high. I don't know what it is about my projections, about Tyler Conklin's numbers, that make my projections absolutely love the dude. But I'm believing them to some extent going up against New England. Do believe that is a game that he had a good week against. I have it right here, Tyler Conklin. Last time that they played up against New England, 10 targets, 6 receptions, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. They've been pretty bad against tight ends this season. That's part of the reason why they've been bad against tight ends right there. That wasn't the reason that I put him up here, but it is, I guess, we'll just say subconsciously that was the reason. Got him at 15th in my rankings, actually. Remember, all these guys should be moved back by 2 spots at this point. Then, that is obviously if Gerald Everett and David Njoku were to start. Then I have Hayden Hurst 3 spots behind the ECR. The ECR on him is 12. I have him at 15. They're going up against Pittsburgh. I do believe that this Pittsburgh defense is improving now that they have TJ Watt back. So I'm not super excited about Hayden Hurst. It's been rough there this year, I think, for him a little bit. He's underperformed up to this point. So there are other guys I would rather play. Then I have Hunter Henry 4 spots ahead of the ECR. I have him at 16. The ECR on him is 20. He's had some pretty good weeks. He has a pretty good ceiling going up against the New York Jets. And if I recall correctly, the tight end position, which this would suggest, is a spot where you can kind of do okay against the Jets as far as the passing game goes. And that's because they're tough against the pass. And then I have Dawson Knox 4 spots behind the ECR. The ECR has him at 15. I have him at 19. Hey, I always love that ceiling for Dawson Knox. I guess I'm just not feeling it this week. But he does always have this ceiling being part of Buffalo. Hasn't happened too often this week, but it happened a lot last year, and it can happen any week. It could happen for the rest of this year all of a sudden. So he's always someone that you should feel okay if you have to put him out there, regardless of what he's done or the matchup. Then we get on to the players who I'm a little less confident playing, but I'm okay putting him out there. And that starts off with Robert Tonyan, who I have 4 spots behind the ECR. I have him at 20. The ECR has him at 16. If you want 5 points, then you can play Robert Tonyan with confidence. Now let's move on to Jonnu Smith, who I have ranked 21st, which is 8 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR on him is 29. We're getting into a territory here where I don't have some guys ranked that are ranked by the experts. I really only rank guys who I would suggest playing to some extent, or guys who I am keeping an eye on, which is going to be the kind of the case with like Tommy Tremble and James Mitchell and I guess Logan Thomas and Austin Hooper too, the trash guys down here. But as far as Jonnu Smith goes, as of late he was starting to take away some of Hunter Henry's work, some of those targets. He beat Hunter Henry in at least one of the last 2 games. They might be getting him involved a little bit more, and that's starting to show in the projections as well. As you can see, he didn't land too far behind Hunter Henry this week, with another decent ceiling there going up against the Jets. Probably be a pretty low-scoring game, though, so I'm not really expecting one of them to probably get a touchdown, I guess. Then let's move on to Trey McBride, who I have at 22nd, which is 3 spots behind the ECR. The ECR on him is 19. And honestly, I'm just not going to argue with the experts there. It's a really, really great role, so I totally understand it. It's just something that I would prefer to see, because he did only get 1 target last week, and he did play most of the game. He was out there for quite a few snaps, so I'm just a little bit concerned about the connection that he may or may not have with... Well, you would think with the backup quarterback, he might have had a better connection there than he would with the starting, but I don't know. I suppose if Kyler started, maybe I have a little bit more confidence in that, since maybe that was just a quarterback thing. Maybe what's his face doesn't target the tight end position too much. But then that brings us to some of my less than desirable options here at tight end, and my final 4 tight ends that I have ranked are James Mitchell, Isaiah Likely, Gerald Everett, and then Tommy Tremblay. Somebody let me know. Is it Tremble or Tremblay? Just let me know. Spell it L-A-Y if it's Tremblay. That'll let me know. Unless you know how to do the little like tilde thing or whatever on the E. As far as James Mitchell goes, I have him 8 spots ahead of the ECR. I'm at 25. The ECR on him is 33. I don't know. He got a little bit more usage this game. He's a guy that I like a lot that could pop out. I would not be wanting to play him. As far as Isaiah Likely goes, I have him ranked or projected pretty much as if he's not starting. So if he were to be starting, obviously he would be much higher. Be in with these guys. Maybe higher than Pitts and Higbee. So that is it for the tight ends. I hope I covered everything at the beginning of the video. Check out my wide receiver and running back videos coming out this afternoon. Let's just end it there. Peace out.